Have you wanted to build a family practice? Are the things you're doing actually just not generating the income that you want, the impact you want? Are you not getting all the family members? I'm gonna try to teach you a few things today that are gonna help you have more impact on your community by actually being able to communicate your message across the population of the family. Seeing all patients in the family is a matter of perceived value, and then also the level of service and your wording as far as your intellectual exchange from you to them changes depending on who's in front of you. The way you serve changes depending on who's in front of you, and the way you educate changes with who's in front of you. But what does that really look like? Realize now we live in a world, at least in the US, that people generationally now have been trained to believe that their bodies are not intelligent and that swapping pharmaceuticals for nutrition is the way that their body functions. This has been generational now. It's been happening for multiple generations where the US, and likely most of the developed world, has been delegating some level of responsibility of their health to outside sources, to medical doctors, to some form of industry, as opposed to taking entire responsibility for themselves and what that really entails. So if these are learned patterns over time, it's been generational, and it lives in the body, it lives in the unconscious mind. If it lives in the unconscious mind, we cannot logically reason with the unconscious mind, at least not directly. Today I'm gonna get into what are the two ways you actually change the unconscious mind first. So the acknowledgement of this is what opens you up to being able to communicate effectively. And then we get to go on a journey of actually identifying who's in front of you and how you tailor that message. What are the two ways you change the unconscious mind? Number one, spaced repetition, education, and intentional learning or coaching. And number two, emotional impact. Let's just say you have lived your whole life not really taking care of your physical body, even though you've learned other things. You kind of eat what you want, when you want. You don't really engage your body in any form of physical activity. Your sleep isn't great. We just do this for 30, 40, 45 years. The body's incredibly resilient, and when you want to test it, it will show you how beautifully capable it is. But someday, it will actually start to break down when it can't compensate anymore. So you wake up, you have burning chest pain, you can't breathe, it goes down into your arm, you can't see out of your left eye, you get taken to the hospital, you're having a heart attack, you have congestive heart failure, whatever crazy diagnosis there is from a pattern of habits. And then you are told, hey, if you do not radically change everything that you're doing, you're gonna die. Massive emotional impact. So that can affect the unconscious mind in a profound way where you are forced to make decisions now going forward from a changed perspective. Your perception changes at that point because you start to see value, or your internal values start to change. So that's number two, that's emotional impact. It's largely negative, not really something we want to encourage. We don't want to wait till the wheels are falling off to really change something. So if we want to do it now, then we're going to do the first one. So spaced repetition, intentional learning, and coaching. That's you. So when we take ideas and press them into the unconscious mind with repetition and with emphasis, then over time that changes the pattern that's in the brain. And I don't just mean affirming things, saying I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, when you're not. It doesn't work. It actually makes things worse. It actually draws a bigger delta, a bigger discrepancy of where you are versus where you want to go, and all you see is the gap. As you get into education, you get into knowledge, you get into study of you are largely ignorant about something. And I believe ignorance is actually the problem for most things. We're all ignorant about a lot of things, but if we want to study and get into education as far as the things that are needing development, whether it is my skills in health, my behaviors in how I take care of my body, or how I run my business, whatever I need to learn, we get into that study mode, like actually learning, not memorizing to binge and purge, but actually pushing it into your unconscious mind with repetition, with understanding over time that it becomes in your beingness. So you want to get the message of traumas, toxins, thoughts. These are the vehicles that actually damage your body. How do we gain more knowledge and emphasis over them? So we take your body out of dis-ease, lack of homeostasis, into ease, homeostasis, creation, and vitality. That would be the track that you would want them to be on. So if we are in that education mind, that is how we're going to change their unconscious mind. It has to be spaced. It can't just be all at once. You're not just going to bombard them with a day one. And I love the quote from Gonstead, don't try to sell chiropractic before you've actually provided any result. You don't have the privilege to sell them anything. You haven't proven anything. You haven't even proven that chiropractic works or that you don't suck. So actually prove through your results over time that you can actually get someone better, whether it's 1 visit, 10 visits, whatever. take your time to meticulously help them through their actual problem, their acute problem, and then the ascension happens when you actually start to educate them for life, what actually makes them live, not avoiding pain. And number 3, now we have to start identifying who is actually in front of you. This is based off a Harvard study, so you have to think of a quadrant. There are 4 personality types that are going to be dominant. Sometimes people have their foot in multiple, sometimes it's 2. It's never just going to be 1, but they will have a dominant one. Number 1, we're going to look at a controller. These people are likely your CEO types, your entrepreneur, your fast movers. They're not relationship oriented, they're task oriented. They don't care to get to know about the bottom up understanding of things. They want to know can you get it done? How long does it take to get it done? How much does it cost? What do they need to do? Okay, great, boom, boom, boom. I'll see you later. If you try to overly educate these people or make it about them being able to serve better or go actually have a social life without having headaches, you're gonna be missing. They're gonna care about performance and they're gonna be short, dry, cut, to the point. Just deliver the message, deliver what you wanna do and how you're gonna help them best and send them on their way. They will respect it over time more and actually build more trust that way because they feel seen and understood in their communication style. Number 2, you're gonna have your analyst. An analyst is also task-oriented. They're not relationship-oriented, but these are more like your lawyers or engineers. They love understanding. They love lists. These are the people that make lists themselves and check it off and they get an intense amount of dopamine. It actually brings pleasure to their body. So they love to understand what's going on. They probably want to learn what the disc is and how nerve entrapment happens and how the biochemistry actually changes over time and how organs affect it and how the emotions affect it. They likely want to learn that stuff for their understanding, but not really for them showing up as a higher level of service for other people or being able to go on adventures. These are not adventurous people. They're more likely introverts. And also, with an analyst, they are hypercritical of themselves. So when you are presenting information to them, we want to be direct and also careful, because if you start to pull out flaws in them that they haven't actually vocalized to you, they implode. This is how their psyches actually develop. They're hypercritical. So if you start to pull out things in them or actually call them on stuff before you've built that right amount of trust, 1, they implode, and 2, they probably will not come back. We have your controller, we have your analyst, and now we're down to the bottom tiers. Number 3 is going to be your promoter. These are the loud people. They're boisterous. They're excited to be in the office. They'll likely talk about sex. They'll likely talk about parties. They're all adventure. And likely the reason they're in your office is because their headaches, their low back, their bad ankle is preventing them from doing those things. So if you cater your language toward, hey, when we fix this, you're going to get back to your adventures, then they're going to be on fire, motivated, and they're going to tell all their friends about you. And then number 4, last one, supporter. Relationship oriented, very relationship oriented, not task oriented. They're not really career focused. They are all about serving the whole. These are the worker bees in society. They love to be of service of all the people around them, their family, their coworkers, anybody they call family, their friends. So if you start to deliver your messaging to them as, hey, you have these migraines, I understand you, I see you. I want to get you to that so you feel like you're showing up as the best mom, or you're able to show up in your job and it not be a distraction for you, or you're able to be a great wife. Like, it's some form of messaging around them serving at a high level. When we cater these messages to how they are, not how we are, how they are, they feel seen, they actually build a higher level of trust and understanding, and they want to come back not just in crisis, but actually for life, because they understand that this is a place where you develop skills to gain more health, not just move away from pain. Doctors, how effective are you from moment to moment acknowledging what kind of patient is in front of you, what personality type, and how do you cater those messages over time? Because that could be upgraded and that can present your value to a larger amount of community, and then you will have the impact that you want and the practice growth you want.